Okay guys, Jeff here. Just wanted to kind of give you the lowdown on, people ask me all the time, since I do a lot of backpacking and hiking and all of that, hunting. People ask me all the time, well, what is it that you carry in your pack? And I've spread out a lot of things here. These are representative of the things that I do take. I don't necessarily take them all at the same time, but I do take at least something from these categories every time I go out. And I was just going to kind of go through some of these with you tonight and do that. So first of all, for me, it starts with the pack. I have a couple of different packs. This is kind of my go-to one. Let me put it, see if you can see it here. This one is a Badlands. It's what I'd consider a 2 to 3 day pack. You can get quite a bit of stuff in here. It has all kinds of features, including ways to tie down your bow. It has gear packed down here for securing a rifle or a shotgun, and of course, like I was mentioning, it does have this pouch to put on the end of either your limbs or your cams or your stock of your gun. That extends down, and then you can feed things up through these lines. So it's a really good pack. I'm not here to really talk about the pack, but I do mention it because it does give me a lot of space. And so when you choose what you're going to take, a lot of what you carry is going to be determined by how much space you have. And then of course you're going to take into consideration the kind of weather that you anticipate, and it's always smart to anticipate bad weather. But there's a difference between anticipating snow and rain, and there's a difference between anticipating cooler weather and then sub-zero weather. So all of that takes into consideration. And then there are some things that you'll take regardless of the temperature, regardless of the weather, for the what-ifs out there. So it's kind of like most of the stuff that you see here is for the what-ifs. And so first I'm going to start with this front pouch. So this very front pouch right here for me, and it's this little skinny one right here at the front. This one really, as you can see, I can put my whole arm down in it, but it's really not a wide spot. It's just really this front pouch. It extends down into here, but it's on the inside of that. And so you can see that that doesn't give you a ton of space in there, but in my mind it's perfect for a couple of things, and I'm going to show you this. Okay, so again, and this is stuff that I choose to take. You don't have to choose to take this. Don't want to see any comments, any internet trolls out there crapping on what I'm taking. I take what I take because it makes me feel comfortable, and I'm glad to have it out there on the trail. You don't want to take it, don't take it. That's fine with you. But anyway, so we just decided I'm sharing what I'm taking. One of the things I like having, and it's super lightweight, is this guy. And I use one of these gear ties to kind of secure it. I don't normally take it out because I don't ever want to use it. But this is basically a mobile caster splint, and it has some papers in here that kind of show you how to do some splints. So I keep that tucked up in here. But it's a really nice, neat, it really is formable. Every position you put it in, it's going to stay. It has this really soft interior and exterior, but it has a metal frame, a bendable aluminum and metal frame. And you're able to do all kinds of things, from arm splints to ankle splints to broken wrists, broken elbows. It just does a great job at kind of securing. And this one's a 36-inch. I don't want to unroll it because I definitely don't want to ruin the nice tight coil that it has on it, but you can see it really is light, and it does take up the size of about a soda can. So if space is an issue, this is something you can sacrifice. For me, space in this bag is not an issue. I use this gear tie just feeding through the center loop here, and I tie it basically just to keep it so it doesn't come unraveled, and I tie it just to keep it tight. And again, I don't want it unraveled. I want it to stay as small as it can and as in the pure form as it came, which is that shape. And I use the gear tie because the gear tie's basically moved in the same, it's made of the same kind of stuff. It's a silicone soft coated wire, and this holds retention. And don't lose sight of the fact that you know, when you're making decisions, that gear tie could definitely be used to tie up a shelter, could be used to hang things. If something's wet, you want to hang it in the tree to dry it. The gear tie is there to help out too. It's not just a pretty dressing for the splint. So literally that goes down, for me, that goes down in the very front of this pack. Goes down at the very bottom. Again, I hope to never ever have to use it, but I just like the fact that I know it's in there and it's going to stay in there and I don't have to worry about it. Okay. Second thing that's going to go down in there is going to be, you know, my first aid kit. And again, you can put together your own kit. You also can buy a kit just like this one. This one is kind of just very basic. It's a backpack one, but it does have bandages, it has wipes, it has gloves, it has an emergency blanket, so stuff like that, even scissors, Q-tips, safety pins, a little bit of medical tape, sterile strip, all that. So it's got a little bit of everything. Of course, you're not going to be able to address every problem you run in out there, but this is definitely going to get you through some of the smaller scrapes and cuts and bruises. A little triage out on the road never hurt anybody, and to have that around is it's just nice to have just a little bit. So that's the second thing that goes down in my pack. Again, you don't have to take any of that stuff. It's up to you. I'm just showing you what I do. That goes down in my pack. Again, in that front pouch where I really can't fit a lot of stuff anyway, but it's nice to have something in there. And then this guy, again, this is medical tape, or that stretchy kind of first aid tape. You would use this to help secure bandages, gauze pads. You can make compression wraps out of this. It would hold that splint on. It's it's not sticky, but you know how it works. It's that self-adherent stuff. It goes around. I keep stuff in the bag to try to keep it as sterile as possible. This is a smaller version of that same stuff, and it's really nice. I mean, it does the job. It does exactly what it says. It sticks to itself, so you can wrap it, cut a piece, and make sure that you have that. So that goes in on top of this stuff as well. And so for that front little pouch, that just about does it. Just first aid kind of things. You can, if I choose to have with me just a variety of a couple of pain relievers. I even have an antacid in here. And one of the things I learned to take a long time ago is to take like a chewable Benadryl, children's chewable Benadryl. If you ever run into anything, you know, stinging nettle, poison ivy, anything that's giving you a little bit of a reaction. Benadryl, of course, doesn't cure it, but as an antihistamine, it does help. It does help stave inflammation and swelling and things like that. So, you know, I've even heard of guys giving it to people as a very first part of first aid for a snake bite. That's something you'll want to check. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know about that. But I do carry those kind of things: aspirin, ibuprofen, antacid, and some chewable Benadryl. That could go in your little first aid area as well. And that pretty much does that front pouch. I've got side pouches and I've got other things. So obviously, for sanitary purposes, I really probably shouldn't have to explain this entirely. Obviously, I keep a fair amount of toilet paper. Looks like I need to probably replenish my stash just a little bit. In addition to that, you know, I keep dude wipes. I like the dude wipes because of the size and the durability. I know that really one of these is worth like 3 or 4 of the other kinds, and so I really like having those as part of that kit, the field sanitation kind of kit. And then, of course, anytime you're going out, you'll want to make sure you have hand sanitizer and whatnot. And I even have, there should be right here on the table somewhere, I usually have with this set, I'll have to look to see where those got off to, but I usually have a couple of pairs of nitrile gloves in there, so I don't have to worry as much about keeping my hands clean during field sanitation visits. So some hand sanitizers, some ways just to stay clean, keep yourself clean during a hike and all of that. And you know, these kind of things will just keep and make it just more comfortable when you're out there if you have thought about these things. And if you take the quantities that you need and then maybe your buddy needs, because invariably somebody's going to forget their stuff, And I try to get it all in a Ziploc bag. If that doesn't work right off the bat, like it's not going too great for me right here in this video, I won't take the time to force this bag closed. But the idea is you want to keep it dry, and I ended up getting it sealed, but you want to keep it dry and obviously from getting torn up and frayed and frayed. And I keep that in one of these top pouches, not top pouches, but like saddlebag type pouches in that side there. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about fire starter stuff, because fire starter stuff, you know, I'm showing you right here, I've got, and these are my absolute favorite because they are 100%, you've probably seen me do videos on this, but these guys are 100% waterproof. You can literally douse these in water, pick them up out of the pond, strike them, try to put them out, put them in water, and they will not burn out until all that magnesium is burnt off of that shaft. I like these because it's its own fire starter as well as a striker. So there's a little bit of wood in there, there's a little bit of material. You can pack your case with some fluff, cotton ball, whatnot, just to give you something else to start. But these are my favorite. This is my go-to, and it has its own striker right here on the side that will strike when wet. You can literally have all of this stuff soaking wet and you can still start fire with that. So that to me is a must, but it doesn't have to be for you. You can choose another option. Maybe you want to choose something like this guy. And who doesn't like a good old-fashioned, you know, ferro rod with magnesium? You can scrape some of this off into a pile, and then you can do your striker, and you can carry this kind. So a ferro rod and striker. Of course, this one comes with its own little bit of paracord. Paracord's an amazing thing to have for survival, and so, you know, maybe that's your choice. You can have this, and really, if you wanted to take both, you're not sacrificing that much space. So you could have one or two of these, but in addition to something that can start a fire, I always like having some good quality fire burning material. So this is like a plug, a Blackbeard plug. This stuff works great. Same thing, it can be soaking wet. You can see I've started plenty of fires with this. It used to be this long. You just kind of cut off a plug as you go. Use enough that you think it's going to take to get started. If you got wet wood, wet stuff to do, you might need to do the whole stick just to get stuff dry enough. But so again, you don't have to take all of this. You don't have to take the waterproof matches and the ferro rod. You don't have to take the waterproof matches, the ferro rod, and the fire plug. But again, you decide, and you be discriminate as you want to on what makes sense for your case. You could also go with this guy, and this one is a favorite of mine too. This one has that plasma. You can see that there, the plasma, a little lighter. It's getting a little tired on charge, so I need to charge it, but that is the cool thing about it. If you look right there, it has a USB charger, and this thing literally is windproof, waterproof. You could be holding this in, you know, in the rain, and it's not going to affect it. You can also try to blow it out. You can't blow it out, strong winds. So that plasma charge right there between the two, and again, I am getting low on charge. So, you know, one of the reasons why you may not want to rely 100% on this, because just like here, I'm now discovering I need to get that thing charged before I go out in the field again. If I'm counting on this guy to be my guy, I definitely want to either have a way to charge it in the field, which I can show you how to do that too, or I want to have it charged before I go out. So for a fire starter standpoint, there's this kind of stuff, and you can choose what you do. I can tell you right now, I don't ever go out without the waterproof matches, and I don't ever go out that. So if I chose right here, oops, I dropped that one on the ground, it'd be those two. It'd be the fire plug and the fire matches. You can choose whatever combo you like. I do really like the idea of the paracord. That just is extra stuff. At the same time, you could choose very easily to just use something like this and these guys, and I'm going to come around on that side just to show you real quick. But you know, if you choose to take hand sanitizer, you can choose to take it in this size or those little pouches that I was carrying there just a second ago. But you know, so if you choose, you can have, you know, some hand sanitizer, which again, if you don't have to use it for survival and you're just using it to keep your hands clean and tidy, that's great. But you can also, as you may or may not know, I don't know, some people don't know, but your hand sanitizer is actually an amazing torch material. And if you had, and I carry a couple of these little Q-tips like this in a bag, you could very easily just light yourself. It does not take anything. I don't know if you can see that flame. I hope you can. But that flame is this high. So that's going to make a nice torch. You can see it burning the stick, right? You can see the light on there. Maybe if I shut this light off, you might be able to see that better. But yeah, I mean, that just makes an amazing torch. And that just is with your hand sanitizer. If you soaked that a little bit better than I just did right there, it actually will burn for quite a while. Burning on the stick, it's actually going to go out here pretty quick, and I don't want it to fall on the floor, so I'm going to drop that in the sink here behind me. But yeah, you can use these guys. You can use these guys as a little torch. You can also just pick off the cotton that's on the end of them and make a pile of it. So this is a good combination to have. You know, is to have your little Q-tips like this with your sanitizer. Of course, those little packs that I showed you for your sanitation kits, those will work too. There's just not as much in there. So again, if you're carrying stuff like this already, think of it in terms of, well, if I'm going to carry a thing of hand sanitizer like this, I can also turn it into something else, which could be very well could be your extra fire starting stuff. So the fire starting stuff, depending on how you want to carry or pack that, and I did drop that guy down here. I'm going to pick it up, as I'll show you. I put that in my pack, and same kind of thing. I put the two that I like to carry, the matches and the fire plug. I put those in that same little sanitation kit side, which is over here. Is down and out of the way, but I know I have them. They're there, okay? So moving right along. So we've got fire taken care of. We've got first aid. We got first aid at least addressed. This seems obvious to me, but some people don't consider it. I always take a couple of bottles of water. You know, to be honest, 2 bottles of water is barely going to scratch the surface in a survival situation as to what you need. But it's better to start somewhere than start with nothing. And those go in my main pouch. They go at the very bottom, because again, weight distribution is a key. And so you can see right here, there's a little bit of trash in there. These go in my main pouch down at the bottom. All the weight's down there at the bottom. I can pack things on top of them. So again, I stuff those way back down in there. And this pack's starting to take shape already. And we'll go from there. So now, I'm going to put this stuff that I'm not using as a fire starter stuff today. I'm going to set that over here, just as ideas for something for you to carry. So now let's talk weather. There is this guy. So this is your classic, typical emergency poncho that you can get anywhere. Usually 99 cents, couple bucks. You can see this one by the yellowing of the pack it's in. I have not used it, but I've carried it a lot. And it's there if I absolutely needed it. It could be a poncho, it could be a shelter, it could be the start of a shelter. If I don't know the weather I'm going to go into, and I'm more than confident that it's not looking like it's going to be a lot of harsh weather or cold weather or anything like that, this is the one I kind of ride and die with. I go with that. If by chance I know I'm going to be more likely than not encountering weather, then this guy goes in the pack. And you can see why I make the choice. If it's looking forecast wise for the next day or two that there is no chance of rain, and I've just got this for the absolute, well, something just boiled up over top of us unexpectedly, I've got something. If I know I'm going to be potentially going into stuff, I put this guy. And this Frog Talk is a little more, you can see the space. So again, you have to decide what it is I'm going to sacrifice. And if I know I'm going to run into weather, I'd rather have this more durable. I've used this Frog Talk emergency poncho. It's not even really emergency poncho. It's just a poncho. It's one of their ponchos. It's really big. It fits over me and my bag at the same time. It has a hood, and it goes in the pack as well. If I'm going to encounter, not encounter that, at least I have something. So depending on where I'm going, what I'm doing, I make that choice. It's with me at camp, so I can always throw it in, but this is always in the backpack, so I've got that as a emergency setup too. Same pouch that goes in the sanitation as well as the fire one. And then now let's talk a couple of things. So if you ever get lost, and I've been there once, I didn't get lost for all that long, but I was lost, and I was able to orient and find myself before it got too late and too dark at night, and I found it. And ever since then, I've carried something like this. I don't wear this. This is designed to be worn as a wristband, and of course you could put it on and wear it as a wristband. It has just the kind of things that you want to see in a survival type environment. It has a little semi-striker kind of knife kind of thing. It's got a little bit of a saw so you can kind of cut some things. Trust me, this is like absolute necessary if you must do it. Has a little compass on it. Again, not something I would try and stake my whole life on, but it's better than nothing. But really the reason why I carry is that it has a whistle, and it does not take a lot for this thing to blow loud. Whistling is way better than trying to scream and yell and holler for somebody. So if you ever get lost, save your voice, save your hydration by not screaming, and literally just blow, and you'll be able to alert people to your location a lot better. And so I carry that. The paracord, of course, is a plus. The compass is a plus. All of that's in there. That goes in that same side pouch. That's kind of a lost and found kind of thing, and along those lines. So now we're also getting to a couple of things. So as a hunter, you guys probably recognize stuff like this. This looks like your traditional flagging tape, and it kind of is. It's more of a ribbon style, so it does take a knife to cut it. You don't just stretch it to do it. But I carry this kind because it is a little more durable, and when you tie it on things, it stays on a little bit better. And I always take a Sharpie with me. And I love the Milwaukee Sharpies. These are designed for the workplace. They're designed to be written on greasy kind of stuff, wet stuff. And literally, I can write messages on my tag, my flagging tape. If I, trying to find my way out of an area, but I know people will be looking for me, this is a way that I can mark and put on here. I could even timestamp this and say, okay, well, this way, I went north, and put an arrow, and then put 3:50 p.m. And so I can put that all on here, and this now becomes not only a visual for me to see where I've come, it's also as a way for people to find me. The Sharpie is nothing to carry in your backpack, and neither is this flagging tape. Obviously it helps in game recovery as well. So I keep that as a dual purpose. It's a hunting tool for me, as well as it is a survival tool. And the Sharpie, of course, same thing. You can write notes, keep notes, and even for flagging tape, it's not bad to kind of mark your tape and say tape number 1, tape number 2, and that way, as you're kind of, if you have to go backwards, you can kind of see, well, man, I'm still five markers up, so you can kind of keep track of your taping and tracking as well. So these are things, and these actually go in that front pouch where I have the first aid stuff for me. Again, I try to distribute some of the stuff the best I can for that. Same thing, you could, instead of taking the Sharpie, you could take a ballpoint pen or a pen, a pencil, or whatever you want to write with. Just something to write with, to leave notes and messages, and do a little journaling as you're going. Keep everybody else informed as to what's going on. And that will help out with that. And so, that's up to you. Pens, pencils, Sharpies, markers, whatever you want. It's a little bit of an afterthought, but man, it's great to have that kind of stuff out there when you go. And then, for me, I always carry a face mask. Now, for a face mask, you think, okay, well, if I'm in a hunting situation, that's great. What if I'm not in a hunting situation? This becomes, at some point, it could be very easily a bug shield. So I do wear this, obviously, in stalking situations. but it very easily could be a bug shield if you're in some areas that there's just a ton of bugs. Also a little bit of sun protection. You do get beat down on your ears, the back of your neck, and this goes over that. So it's a little bit of sun protection, a little bit of insect protection. So it helps you out. And then also if it's cold, it's just another little bit of insulation to keep on your head underneath your hat to keep you a little bit warm. So it's a face shield. I use it all the time for hunting. I hope I never have to use it for survival, but it is at least something there that's in there. This one actually goes where I can reach it without taking my bag off, so that one goes up here on one of these little side bags here. Same with this wind indicator. Now, wind indicator, really, I can't think of really any other, so obviously it gives you that puff of air to help you indicate the wind. But if you understand what this stuff is, it's also a little bit of anti-friction kind of stuff. So if you're starting to get a blister in your heel or something like that, this is a little bit of superfine. It's odorless powder, typically something like talc. So a really good powder, help with chafing and all that. So I use it for wind checking and stuff. That's what I 99.9% of the time have used it for. But you could use it in a pinch to help with some chafing or with some blisters and all of that. So that goes in the same thing. And then of course, if you have the room and you can carry something like this, having some bug spray, tick repellent, all of that on board if you get in the right area, especially if you're in a place with ticks and you just forgot it, having a little guy like this that you can put on some to keep it going. I love this stuff, this lemon eucalyptus oil. Unfortunately, hunting I don't wear it a lot just because it does have a little, it actually has a real pleasant scent to it, but it does give a little bit of scent. So it just depends on what you want to sacrifice, scent or bugs. And most of the places I hunt in don't have a lot of bugs, but they certainly could. So anyway, that gives you that. And the last couple items. So lip balm. This stuff is, of course, perfect if you start to get dehydrated to help keep your lips dry, or your dry chapping lips to keep them moist. It also could be fire starter. You could take a little bit of that and smear it on stuff. It will burn. It is primarily beeswax, so it does definitely burn. That's something good to have. Just a small little comfort to keep your lips from getting too dry. I carry a knife on my belt. That's always been my thing. I carry a multi-tool on my belt. But if I could keep a little guy in my backpack, who knows what happens? Who knows what's going to happen? But this guy takes up very little space. It has a little pair of needle nose kind of pliers on it. Does have some small screwdrivers, a file. It's your typical multi-tool. Doesn't take up a ton of space. And then same, this guy, favorite brand of knife of all time. These Haviland blades, super sharp. Having just a backup knife to help along if you get into scrape. And maybe your other knife's broke, lost, whatever, having a backup one in the backpack, secured away in an emergency situation, you'd be glad that you had it. And then lastly, a length of rope. If you had yourself a length of rope, obviously this could be used to secure things to your backpack. It could be used to be the start of a shelter. This one has some clips on it, and some hooks and clips, with also your classic kind of tightening, so you don't have to worry about not tying knots or whatnot. But it has your slip style deal here, so you can extend that out. You can again make yourself a center rope for a makeshift shelter in a hurry, using that poncho that you have and brought. So you have quite a bit of stuff here, and that one goes in this same pouch up here, right here, and same with the bug spray, the extra knife, and the set of that. Now the lip balm, to be 100% honest, I keep that right up here with my face shield so that I'm able to reach that, because I don't know about you guys, but my lips seem to dry out exponentially faster when I'm hiking and stuff than they do otherwise. So anyway, this is what I carry to start the backpack trip. Anything else that goes in here, would be whatever is specific to that hike. It's going to be clothing that I need. It's going to be gear that I possibly need. tripods, maybe extra binos, whatever that I'm not carrying on my front. But this is how it starts. So it's already pretty loaded, but again, you know, I'm carrying this stuff for the absolute what ifs. You know, the what ifs happen, and it just gives me peace of mind knowing that when I strap that on, I'm starting with something. I'm not starting from zero. The backpack in itself could be pillow. I mean, this, I'm telling you, it's you got quite a bit of stuff going on here. So this is a nice pack. It's not a frame pack, but as you can see, it does stand up on its own. Let's see if you can turn that just a little bit. There you go. Yeah, so it does stand up on its own. And with all of that stuff in there, I've probably added a good 6 or 7 pounds of stuff to a pack. So yes, it does get a little heavy, but again, I'm not, you know, backpacking for a speed marathon. I don't mind carrying a little extra weight if I know it's going to give me that peace of mind. And anyway, and then of course you saw plenty of things in there that if you wanted to dumb it down and not put as much stuff, or be a little more judicious in what you choose to put in there, you could certainly do that. But in a nutshell, that's what I put in my backpack. You guys, you know, you don't, again, you know, I've been asked a million times, that's why I'm showing you this. I'm not soliciting anybody to give me critiquing or anything like that. I'm welcome for suggestions or some ideas. If you have some, feel free to reach out. And share with me maybe some things I haven't considered. That would be really, really helpful. So I hope I've given you some ideas of some of the things that you can take. If you really like this content and you like what I've got going on at Geoff's Gadgets, Gear, and Good Buys, by all means click follow and check out some of the other videos and things that I have online. I think that the content I have is geared towards people like you and me that love the outdoors, love the do-it-yourself kind of stuff, love getting your hands dirty and working on your own little projects. So guys, I really appreciate you watching. Please feel free to share this video and share the content with anybody that you think would love and appreciate it. But we'll catch you next time on The Lowdown.